Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Slam Talk Sports. It is Gather Round. It is the festival of football. The whole footy community converges on Adelaide to celebrate our great game. That's what I'll be doing in about 5 hours' time. It is currently midnight in Melbourne, and I'll be driving. Well, I won't be driving. That was a fib. I'll be the passenger princess to my great friends Dane, Marcus, and Xander as we make our long journey to Adelaide via car. But first, I must break down what was an incredible start to Gather Round. Adelaide got done again in a tight one to the Geelong Cats. The final margin was 19 points, as I see Sarah Jones break it down right now. What a game that was. What a start it was to this magnificent round. How good was Taylor Walker's goal to kick things off? How good was Darcy Fogarty's performance in the first half? And that's about when I start running out of superlatives for Adelaide, because they had no fight in them left in the last quarter. Off a 5-day break, went to the Gold Coast and back in a narrow defeat. Now they just get pipped by Geelong through the likes of Cameron, through the likes of Dangerfield, who took over the final quarter. And of course, it was Bailey Smith and Max Holmes, those smooth movers through the midfield for Geelong. But what really went wrong for the Crows? Did they just stop? Did they run out of gas in the second half? Well, it wasn't just that. It was the ball use. The ball use by Adelaide was far poorer. They were trying to hit targets and couldn't quite get them. And really, the smooth movers up forward didn't have the same impact in the second half. Riley Thilthorpe, one of my favourite players, but only one goal in this contest, and he missed some easy shots. Taylor Walker, what a player. What a start he's had to the year. He didn't really show up in the final quarter either. Rankin, he kicked a goal in the last quarter, but it wasn't enough. Where was Jordan Dawson? Where was Matty Crouch when it really mattered? The Crows couldn't stand up in what was probably the biggest game of their season in terms of eyeballs. We all thought this is the day, this is the night, this is the time the Crows announced themselves as a serious contender, and they can take down the best side of the last 20 years outside Hawthorn. But it was not to be the case. The Cats, they just keep winning. They are so damn annoying. This rebuild on the run, hell, could you even call it a rebuild? At no point have they bottomed out. Not really. The only time they were bad for 1 year was 2015. And what happened that off-season? They picked up Patrick Dangerfield for Dean Gore. Need I say more? The Cats are a bloody good team. And they just keep finding ways to win. In fact, never lost at Gather Round. And the Crows lose back-to-back years while opening this great festival of football. What now? Well, the Cats play Hawthorn next Easter Monday in what is the most hotly anticipated game of the year so far. And the Crows will get back on track against an opponent I don't even know right now because it is midnight in Melbourne. We move forward to the next game of Gather Round, and I will be there. Yes, I will be at Adelaide Oval finally. How long has this place been open for football? A decade? And I've been stuck here in Melbourne watching Marvel football, watching teams play the MCG. I need to be at Adelaide Oval with the likes of James Peatling and Joe Richards play. I mean, wow, what a treat for me. What a treat that'll be. But firstly, I need to see Sydney take on Collingwood at the Adelaide Oval on Friday night. And the line is 5.5 points the Pies' way. There are some big ins and outs I must mention for this game. None bigger than Dan Houston, who has received a 2-game suspension for his bump last Thursday night against Carlton. Jordan De Goey is out injured again with it was called an ankle/Achilles injury/calf. It's all in that area of your leg, I guess. But he was subbed out in what was called management, but now he's injured. Unfortunately, De Goey can't get a good crack at it. And Lachie Schultz, what's he done? He's done a soft tissue injury 2 days after the game. He's done it at Sunday training. How unlucky can you be? 3 big outs for the Magpies. You know what I'll do? Rather than just shout them at you at the screen, rather than shout them at you, I'll show the teams. And those are the 3 big outs for the Magpies. And of course, the Swannies, they go in unchanged with a good win over North last week. How am I feeling about this one? Well, it's going to be tight. The betting says so. It's hard to really predict when it's at a neutral venue. Recent history, I mean, the Swans towed the Pies up last year on the MCG, but that was round 3. I mean, you can't read too much into that. I mean, obviously they played a classic back in 2022 in that prelim final. They've had some really good games in the past, these two sides. What am I leaning towards? I'm probably leaning towards just the Pies. I'll probably tip the Pies, even though I did tip the Crows tonight. In terms of a betting point of view, Not a lot I want to bet on. I mean, let's be serious. Collingwood are terrible to bet on for goals. You don't know who's going to kick them. Last week, it was nobody. Nobody wanted to kick a goal. No, not you, McStay. Not you, Bobby Hill. Not you, Jamie Elliott. Not you, Brody Mojacek. You'll kick 0-3. So I'm not that keen on tipping on Pies goal scorers. Disposals? Well, I'm using the tab at the moment, and Pendlebury for 20 touches is about $1.25. Not bad, considering we all expect a Nick Dacos tag at the hands of James Jordan. So I'd be staying away from any Nick Dacos props. I don't mind Pendlebury in this one. Also don't mind Darcy Cameron for 15 disposals. Missed by one is only 14. He's the number one intercept marker. As for a ruckman in the league, he's regularly getting 15 to 16 touches. Against Grundy, who's looked slow this year, let's be serious, I don't mind DC to have 14 to 15 disposals, but I'm not tipping too much into this game because both sides have such a high variation depending on who kicks goals week to week. We'll move forward to the next game, which is Saturday afternoon at the Barossa Valley, or Lindock as it's being called. Lindock. Okay, that's new to me. I've never been to Lindock. It is North Melbourne taking on the Gold Coast Suns. Just the one change for the Suns. Nick Coleman comes back in. Connor Buderick goes out after taking a free kick that he shouldn't have taken, which is blown up all over TikTok. 2,000 views, I'll tell you that. And North Melbourne, they bring in their top draft pick from last year, Finn O'Sullivan. They bring in their top pick from 2 years ago in Zane Dersma. And they bring in Zach Fisher, who helped me win a franchise flag last year. Well done, Zach. Out goes Bailey Scott. Out goes Matt Whitlock. Out goes Robbie Hanson Jr. What do we expect from this one? It's hard to know because it's at a ground we haven't seen before, but based on the prior form, you have to expect the Gold Coast Suns to dispose of North Melbourne in this one. They played last year in a great contest that North just won, where the likes of Larkey and Bryn Teakle combined for 5 goals, and that young gun Colby McKercher had 37 disposals. But do I trust North? I said no 2 weeks ago. I don't trust them. Even after a win, I don't trust them. And what happened? They got pumped by Sydney on their home ground. This team's fine for North. It's an okay team. It's a competitive team. But Gold Coast have Group 1 race horses all over the field. They've got Winks, they've got Caviar, they've got Chautauqua, they've got Northerly. I'd want all their players pretty much over North Melbourne's list outside LDU, Sheasel, Larkey, McKerch. Okay? So I think talent-wise, Gold Coast will be too strong, even though neither side has played at this ground before. Betting is 24.5 points. If I had to take a bet on that line, I'd take Gold Coast at the line, but I'm not particularly keen to bet on anyone at grounds we haven't seen before, which is Lindock/Barossa or Norwood, which we've seen before, but regularly has featured low scoring in the past and high wins. If I had to have a disposal bet, it would probably be Bailey Humphrey for 15 touches. He had a down game last week. He has been exposed to more midfield in the first couple of weeks of the season. Also, Colby McKercher for 20 disposals. He had 37 last year in this matchup. It just seems primed for him to have a big game, but I still like Gold Coast to handle business on the Barossa. We'll move forward to the next game, which is at the Adelaide Oval, and it is a huge one. We all know it's a big one. Carlton take on the West Coast Eagles at 1:20 Melbourne time / 12:50 Adelaide time. Did I get that right? Did I get the times correct? They're half an hour behind. Well, they're probably 10 years behind with the times, but half an hour will do for this one. I'll quote Adelaide times because I'll be in Adelaide, because that'll be my local time, and it is all about me. In for Carlton, Harry Mackay, Matthew Cottrell, Matthew Carroll, and Corey Durden. Out goes Louis Young, Lockie Cowan, Ashton Moyer, and Cooper Lord. The Eagles, they get a couple of good names back. They get Harry Edwards back, Jake Waterman, Liam Ryan, and my man Jack Hutchinson. Out goes Tyler Brockman. Out goes Tim Kelly, who's been dropped. We'll talk about that in a second. Out goes Noah Long, and out goes Tommy Cole. Wow, we did not think Carlton would be 0-4 after 4 rounds, let alone be playing another winless side in the West Coast Eagles. Just based on the teams right now, just look at those sides. It's not a huge confidence I would have in Carlton, because West Coast have brought some good players in, some senior players. Carlton have brought in 3 kids and a former Coleman medalist in Harry Mackay. The line, remarkably, is 37.5 points. And I know how worried Carlton fans are about winning this game, but the bookies think they're going to win by 7 goals. If you had to ask me who I'd take, I'd still take the Blues at the line. But geez, the form is so poor, and they're unable to kick 100 points in a game. They haven't kicked 100 points in a game since June of last year. So do you seriously think they're going to score 120 points to West Coast 60 or 70? Oh, it's a tough one. I still think the Blues will win. I think it might actually be closer than we expect, and they win by about 25 to 30 points. But this has to be a get-right game for Charlie Curnow. Has to be a get-right game for Harry Mackay. I'd want to see Sam Walsh have 35 touches or at least 30 at a high influence. The Blues should win. The Eagles are only just going, if you watch them the last couple of weeks. They got thumped by the Giants, and they should have been thumped by more against Fremantle. With any good conscience, I couldn't tell you the Eagles are a good side. They are diabolically bad, and I think Carlton will finally get on the board for 2025. Any bets for this one? No one really. I mean, Curnow for 3 or 4 if you wanted to get into that sort of territory. But due to the fact they've played so poorly, I will not be putting much confidence in Carlton in any of my betting selections for this weekend. Next one we want to look at is the Doggies taking on the Brisbane Lions down at Norwood. Now, I'm not going to Norwood this weekend, although I would have liked to, but my good friend Marcus from Hawthorn organised all the tickets. We're going Friday night, we're going Saturday night, we're going Sunday night under the Adelaide Oval lights. There's no time for Norwood, there's no time for the Barossa, but I must mention the ins and outs. Ins for the Western Bulldogs are Jason Johannesson, good to see him back, the Norm Smith medalist. Cooper Hines comes in for debut, and Luke Cleary recovered from his concussion and the broken face he suffered at the hands of Jackson Archer. Out goes Oscar Baker, Ginger Baker himself, playing the drums for Crean. We've got Lathan Vandermeer with that knee soreness, which ruined a couple of my multis, and Harvey Galliot comes out. Good game. Really good game for Norwood. Probably the best game they've had since Gather Round started. You've got this good Doggies team, which is full of young stars and older veterans who are killing it like Tom Liberatore, as opposed to the Premiership favourites, I think. Are they not the Premiership favourites, Brisbane? They won it last year. They're undefeated this year. And a team full of stars. I wouldn't be betting on this one. Just off the top, I mean, it's a Norwood game. These games are low scoring, high wind. It's a long ground if you've never seen a game at Norwood. Not too dissimilar to GMHBA, but not quite the same. Sometimes it takes a half or 3 quarters for the coaches or the players to figure out how to play the dimensions of this oval. Now, Brisbane played there last year, so they've got that advantage. The Doggies played Geelong at the Adelaide Oval and narrowly went down. I'd have to tip Brisbane. The line is 13.5. I wouldn't love them at that line just because I think it could be a low-scoring game. But you do expect the likes of Neil, Dunkley, McCluggage and Ashcroft to continue on their strong form just because the Doggies traditionally do not play a tagger or any hard run-with roles. They back themselves to go the other way, win the ball and win the game using their game style. Goals-wise, I know you all want to say Sam Darcy. I mean, Sam Darcy's been arguably the best full forward or centre-half forward in the league so far. But he comes up against Jack Payne, Harris Andrews, that well-marshalled Brisbane defence. I'm not interested in Norwood games. I'm sorry, I'm not going to tip into you a ground that's played professional football like 2-3 games a year. It's just too difficult because there's no data to back it up. It's like we're throwing darts at a dartboard. I mean, that's where you will throw darts. So I'm not going to tip you any too heavily bets for this one because I don't know much about Norwood. I've never been there. I'm not going to go there. Nothing against it, but it's just not my bag, baby. So I still think the Lions will win this one, but there's no betting predictions or no betting advice for this game. Move forward to the biggest game of the weekend. I know you're all thinking, slam. When are you going to talk about Essendon taking on Melbourne? Well, it's going to be right now. And the ins and the outs are coming at you. I need like a whack coming at you. Archie Perkins comes in. Will Setterfield comes in. Out goes Jai Caldwell, who suffered a hamstring injury at training. What a disaster. And Thomas Edwards, who tore his ACL at the same training. I don't know how many black cats are walking around. Maybe the fact that Dan Gorringe is at Essendon training triggered some sort of curse. I mean, bigger than the curse of leaving Windy Hill. But we lost 2 players in the same training session. How unlucky can you be? For the Melbourne Demons, in comes Xavier Lindsay, their boom youngster, and out goes Daniel Disco Turner, who's dancing his way back to Gosh's paddock, allegedly. I don't know, I made that up. What's going to happen this one? The line is 1.5 points. I'd love to see the Bombers win. only purely because we have their pick. Yes, I say we. I mean, I work there. Well, I was like a student intern for a year, so I can say we. We have their draft pick this year, but they got it in the. Well, we got it. We, me. We got it in the trade for the Isaac Kako pick. Well, not effectively. It's all a little bit hard to understand. Ask Mick Ablett, he's a bit of an expert on it all. But we have Melbourne's 2025 first round pick. So, by the virtue of beating Melbourne, we improve our own draft position for this season. Simple enough. Need to win this game. One player I want to mention who's not in the side is Elijah Sardis. What's going on there? Top 5 draft pick. He's healthy. He's an emergency. Unless he's a late in, bit of a questionable one from Scotty for that. I don't really get it. I mean, you've got to play your young players, particularly your high-end draft picks. But who's going to win? I know that's what I've got to get to. I mean, the point, I've danced around it for the last 2 minutes. Who's going to win? It's going to be the Bombers. The Bombers are travelling better. Melbourne are 0-4. I mean, seriously, this team looks rudderless. Their forward line is as disconnected as it's been for the last 2 years. They can't put a score on the board. The players that got them to prelim finals, grand finals, premierships, they're not playing well. Where is Bailey Fritsch so far? Where has he been? He's been kicking it to the left. He's been kicking it to the right. I mean, he's kicking it at the same accuracy as Bobby Zamora. I wouldn't want him on my team right now. Having said that, he could kill us on Saturday night. Cosy Pickett comes back in last week. He had a good impact last week. I think he'll be better for the run. They have some good players. Let's not confuse ourselves too much. Confusion. They have Petrarca, they have Oliver, they have Gawn, they have May. They have no Jake Lever, who is out for 8 weeks. I just think that Essendon can match them in the midfield, or at least beat them in the midfield, which is where Melbourne have been so poor this year, and they'll find a way to put up a score. Whether it be 80 points, that'll be enough. They have enough craft in the forward half against a Melbourne defence, which is no longer as vaunted as it was 2-3 years ago. Caddy, Kako, Martin, Gresham, Jones. I'm just saying names right now, but I think these will be the players which step up in this game in order to get the Bombers the win. And of course, I'm not that worried about the D's front half because it has been so disjointed for the last 2 seasons. The Bombers just get home on Saturday night, and I'll be a happy, happy man as I dance around Adelaide. Move forward to the Sunday games, and it is Richmond taking on Fremantle. If I can get this team up, there it is. Richmond take on Fremantle. Now, the ins and outs, not as important right now. Talking about the clear outs, it is Sammy Lawler not playing for the Richmond Football Club, the number 1 draft pick. He's injured. Not sure what the injury is because it's not on the app right now. I mean, lift your game, Cal Tromney. And out for Fremantle, you've got Corey Wagner. You've got Nathan O'Driscoll, the best Supercoach rookie for the first couple of weeks, and Luke Jackson, who suffered a mild hamstring injury at the end of that game between Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs. He did not play the 4th quarter. Not too much I want to tip into here. I mean, seriously, Richmond have been dog crap for the most part of this season. The line is 35.5. I think they will cover that. But due to the fact it's at the Barossa, we're back at Lyndoch. I've never seen this ground. I don't know how it's going to play. I mean, Freo might be really good, but it might be windy and hard to handle the conditions, and they win by 28 points, and you don't cover the line. So I can't tell you who's going to win and by what margin. Well, I can tell you who's going to win. Freo are absolutely going to win this game. They'll find a way. Sean Darcy is named, as you can see, as the starting ruckman. Will he play? We don't know yet. Freo will say on Friday afternoon whether Young and Darcy will step up for their first games of the season. Still an unknown, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. I think the quality on Freo's side, particularly in the front half with Amos, Voss, Tracy, Bolton, and Sarong and Brayshaw delivering it down their throats, will be too much for Richmond's young defence. And the midfield of the Tigers just gives up touch after touch after touch after touch. I mean, Caleb Sarong has been averaging about 35 touches this year, only second to Jack McRae. What will he do to Richmond's midfield on Sunday? I don't want to know. I think he'll have 40. He'll go very damn close to having 40. Richmond will find a way to lose, probably by a lot. But due to the fact it's at a ground I've never seen before, I wouldn't be tipping into the margin. Betting-wise, there's no odds on these disposals. You're going to get like $1.12 for Brayshaw and for Sarong. So really no point. Goals, the only one I could advise would be Josh Tracy to kick 3 goals. He's $1.80. This man's a beast. Richmond's backline's stuffed at the moment. I mean, Ben Miller went all right week 1 against Charlie Curnow, but I don't think the likes of a prime Josh Tracy with some All-Australian midfielders delivering it to him. I just think Tracy is too well positioned to dominate in this matchup. He's been so good this year, and he's an accurate kick. So as long as the conditions don't play up too much, $1.80 for 3 goals seems like a good bet to me. Move forward to another game at Norwood, a place I won't be. It is between St Kilda and the GWS Giants. Out goes Brent Daniels, who's had a few injuries so far this year. In comes Stephen Canelio, most likely, and we've got an extended bench for both sides. The Saints make no changes after their brilliant win last week against Port Adelaide. This is a tough one. The line is 12.5 points. Could be a Ross the Boss masterclass where he just shuts the game down. You know, the likes of Wanganeen Millera and Sinclair both have 25 touches off half-back. Bedford tags, I don't know, McRae, or he tags Jack Steele. I'm not sure who Bedford is going to go to in this one. It's a harder one to really predict. But there's a scenario where he quells the influence of Tom Green and Callahan and Kelly, and it becomes a real dogfight where they just play in the mud all day, and the Saints win by 5 points. Could happen. Most likely not. Most likely the Giants win by about 15 to 20 because they are the class side out of these two sides, and they are one of the premiership favourites. I personally think the Giants will just get the job done. I wouldn't be tipping into any bets, really. I had a look on tab. Wanganeen Miller for 25 and Sinclair for 25, about $1.55, which seems pretty good value for two people that have it pretty much every week. But due to the fact that I don't know where Bedford is going, similar to Jordan should go to Dacos on Friday night, but it might not be a locked-on certainty. If you don't know where the tag is going, it's hard to bet on the opposition's best midfielder or halfback to have a lot of touches. It's too hard. I'm not going to bother with it. It's at a ground I don't really watch football at. I don't watch a lot of Norwood playing Woodville West Torrens, unfortunately. So no bets for me. I think the Giants will just get the job done. And potentially Stephen Canelio comes back in, but we aren't certain on the teams right now on Thursday at midnight. Last game of the round. Yes, we've made it through, guys. If you've been listening to this podcast on a Friday morning, driving to gather round at your home in Melbourne, the superior city, then this is it. This is the big game of the weekend. It is Hawthorn taking on Port Adelaide. Obviously, the big out from the Hawks is Wilbur Day. Will Day with a stretch fracture in his foot. We wish him all the best. Hopefully, we can see him back rearing and ready to go for action come finals time. Out goes Darcy Byrne-Jones with a suspension. Obviously, he hit someone in the head. Can't do that. No, bad boy. In, we're not sure for both sides. It is still obviously Sunday squads. Can't wait for this one. All the history wrapped up into this from last season. James Sicily telling Port Adelaide and Ken, you've been a nothing side for 8 years. Meanwhile, James Sicily has won absolutely nothing in that period of time, and Port Adelaide have come top of the ladder. But my club's better. Hawthorn are better. Me. They won flags, so they count as my flags. I think that's what his rationale is. I don't really get it. This game should be really, really good. Port are on the ropes. Hawthorn are flying. They've lost arguably their best midfielder. I just want to see a bit of fight. I really just want to see Port Adelaide fly the flag from the very start, go after the likes of Ginnivan, the likes of Wizard, the likes of Moore. These blokes who are absolute freaks, but let you know about it. They get in your face, celebrate, do their little TikTok dances. Don't allow that. Come for them from the very first bounce. Make it a physical game. Sit there eating your pie floats, eating your scallops, and just go hell for leather and try and win what will be a season-defining game of football for Port Adelaide. Do I think they will win? God, no. Port Adelaide compared to Hawthorn are crap. Port just lost to Essendon. The line is 15.5 points. I don't think Hawthorn will cover that line. I think it'll be a close one. As we saw last week with Port Adelaide, they tried their best to do that backdoor cover. They tried their best to be within 10 points. Didn't really work. The Saints were far classier than them, particularly in the back half and their transition. That's somewhere how Hawthorn want to play. They want to play transition football. They want you to gash yourself out, the likes of Butters, Rosie, Horn-Francis. Get tired, and by halftime, Hawk ball will be in full effect. I think the Hawks will get home by about 10 points, and Jack Ginnivan will have one of the all-time sprays for Ken Hinkley and do one of his little dances where he puts his hair back, and similar to, you've seen the Seattle Seahawks where they get Tyler Lockett and DK and they do the Macarena. That's what I expect at the end of the game, and Ken's just going to be sitting there thinking, Jesus, I'm probably going to get sacked by Robbo on Monday. If 360 still existed, it'd probably be Gary Lyon this time. I think the Hawks will be too good for Port Adelaide, and it will be a great end to what will be the festival of football that is Gather Round. I can't wait to see you all there, and if you're not there, I'm better than you. I get to be a passenger on an 8-hour drive to Adelaide and edit this podcast. What a life I lead. That's it for Slam Talk Sports. Sorry, my voice is a bit croaky. The energy's a little bit down. It's a bit abridged. I mumbled like more than future. But it is late. It is a Thursday night. And I'll be back every Friday giving you a more comprehensive review or preview of the games ahead. I can't speak. I'm too tired. I'll see you all on the next episode of Slam Talk Sports. How about them Bombers?